Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Dental Assistant Nerds podcast. I'm your host, John. I'm flying solo today. I was trying to lock down a couple guests in the last couple weeks here, and everybody's schedule's just kind of all over the place. With that being said, we are just past Labor Day, with that being in the rearview mirror. And of course, the last week or two, I've been reading all the posts in the dental assistant groups, and it really got me thinking about touching base on where is everyone when it comes to negotiating your benefits. So yesterday, being Labor Day, kind of got me thinking, okay, what is going on in the dental community as far as holiday pay goes? Of course, I threw together a poll based on that, and I was a little surprised. Honestly, it was, were you working? Were you off without pay? Were you off with pay? Were you working with regular pay, or were you working with holiday pay? There were zero responses for people working with holiday pay, a few people working with regular pay. And then, of course, the no pay and the holiday pay, that was kind of in there too. But the thing that kind of caught me off guard was the working with regular pay. Anytime a holiday rolls around, I always see it's almost like people don't ask at the interview process, what what's our working schedule? Like, what do we do when a holiday comes up? And I think that that's something that offices typically avoid because A, they know that it's not the norm, so they don't bring it up. And then, of course, the dental staff don't find out about it until, of course, the week before when they're looking at the schedule, which I don't know why people only look like a week out. I mean, I know I typically look at a schedule a few weeks, a month out just to see what's going on. So that's something I would catch very early and be like, what is happening here? Like, I noticed that the schedule's open on Labor Day. Why is that? So let's say it even made it past the interview process, and now you see that the schedule's open. Now I'm questioning it. So for those of you who are working in a dental practice, what is the situation with your holiday pay? And if you are working on these holidays for regular pay, how did that go down during the interview process? I'm just curious about that because it's very unique in a sense of being healthcare. Most people who obviously do work in healthcare on holidays are getting some type of holiday pay. So for regular pay, I would feel completely deceived, and that's never happened to me. But I definitely feel that if that did roll around to where I saw on the schedule I was working and I was never told about it, I would at that point I would leave because if they're gonna deceive you about that, then what are they gonna leave out? You know, as a business owner, it's brilliant, honestly, because a lot of these holidays, they know that a lot of people are off. Federal employees make up about 2 million employees in this country. So they're getting all those employees plus all the other people who are off. From that standpoint, it's great because they probably pack the schedule. You're working more than you usually would, and you're working at the same pay. So employer wise, it's brilliant. But obviously, morale wise, and from an employer employee relationship point of view, can be very damaging. So definitely a risky game there. But as far as benefits go, now that we've talked a little bit about holiday pay, what are some other benefits that you are negotiating or receiving and that you look for when it comes time for the interview process? One thing you want to keep in mind is that when interviewing, everything's negotiable. It's not necessarily cookie cutter. Some offices still operate like it's cookie cutter, but it's not because what's good for one employee might not be good for another employee. Case in point, I have a friend who she does not need healthcare insurance because her husband receives it from his job, and he has a state job. So when she interviews, she says, "I don't need the medical insurance," and the company's okay, okay, great. She's like, but I'm not using the medical insurance. So, like, what else is negotiable? So she ended up negotiating PTO as far as she was able to receive it sooner. And she also negotiated a couple extra days in there as well. So that's what I mean, not necessarily by like it's cookie cutter. Some places it's well, here is the benefits package for everyone. If you don't want something, we just take that out. But there's really, some places don't operate like that. So it's one of those things that it's better to ask because, when you don't ask, the answer is always no. So you might as well at least ask, hey, is there something that's negotiable here? So, of course, we have you know, the PTO, which that could be all over the place as far as standard PTO normally is after you're there a year, they might give you a week. After 2 years, 2 weeks. After 5 years, 3 weeks. And then I've seen after 10 years, 15 years, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But that's pretty much the most I've seen as far as PTO in dental practices go. And and then that can vary too based on sick time. I see some offices will throw out a couple sick days. One thing when it comes to PTO and sick time that you have to do the research on is, and I see this a lot in groups, is people give their notice and they want paid out their PTO. Completely understandable, right? You earned it as a benefit. The problem is not all states, it's mandatory that an office has to pay that out. So you have to research your state to ensure that that's what the protocol is. Some states, the doctors are like, well, I'm not paying that out. That was a benefit that was earned, and now you're no longer with us. So, it's it's unfortunate that that's not how we're going to operate. So, that's something that you have to inquire about and plan accordingly. If you know that you have 3 weeks PTO and you haven't used any of it and you're deciding you're going to leave there, then you need to do the proper research. And if in fact you are entitled to that payout, then of course you want to provide those documents because I've seen many dentists that I've got into discussions with who are like, I'm not paying that out. And no one calls them out on it. There's no one to call them out on it unless it is brought to the attention and it is in fact the state law or regulation. So that's something that you have to research to ensure that that is actually what's going on in your state. So, and sometimes it can be conflicting. I'm in Pennsylvania and I've had discussions with doctors about this before, and I find one website that says they don't have to pay. And then I find one website that says they do have to pay. So you have to find the definitive website that, or talk to the appropriate people at the state labor board to ensure that that is what's happening. Because as we know, dental is very unregulated, when it comes to office inspections, but then also when it comes to OSHA and pay as well. So unfortunately, sometimes we kind of have to govern ourselves. So, other than that, we talked about holiday pay, which of course, going back to holiday pay, it's usually the big ones, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Like I said, those ones kind of get tossed as the lower rung. And then of course we have 4th of July. So it's definitely a question that you want to ask when you go there. Another thing with holidays is you want to ask, okay, how is it paid? Because a lot of times you just see, hey, we're very generous. We have 7 or 8 holidays that we pay. Okay, well, what if, and of course, people typically find this out when the holiday rolls around. It falls on a Friday. The office is closed Friday. Maybe you don't work Friday. Now, this is their get out of jail for free card. They're like, well, I'm not going to pay you on a holiday I normally wouldn't work. This is honestly new to me. I don't remember ever not getting paid a holiday just because it fell on a Saturday or a Sunday, like, or a day I didn't work. But now it seems like more and more dentists, because of the connection of social media, that these dentists talk and they're like, well, I'm not going to pay for that. Why would I pay for that? That doesn't make sense. So I have a problem with it when an office advertises, hey, we pay 8 holidays. Don't even put an asterisk on there. Don't even bring it up. But then they don't bring it up, of course, until it's the time of the actual payout. So that's something that I definitely inquire about when I go to an office for an interview and say, hey, what's the story with the holidays? So we've discussed PTO, holidays, medical insurance. That's kind of all over the place. If an office offers medical insurance, I've seen anywhere from 50 to 100%. If they don't offer medical insurance, uh, and it's all on you, I have seen where offices offer a stipend. And that stipend can be anywhere from $50 to $250, maybe even 500, I want to say, but definitely not stipend wise. It's definitely not to cover it. So I know I myself, my family insurance is $1,300 a month for my family insurance. So if I did get an office where they offered a $250 stipend, I mean, it's helpful, but it's not fully helping me in the capacity of $1,300 a month for medical insurance. So, medical insurance is another one, of course, you have to ask about. Dental insurance. A lot of offices don't offer dental insurance per se, because why would they? They're dentists, they have an office, so then they have a dental plan in the office. Now, this is something that you have to be very specific about and ask, do you have a lot of family members? Do you have a spouse? Do you have kids? What is the stipulation? A lot of times it's you're allowed dental work and but if it requires lab bills, then you're responsible for the lab fee. Now, some offices put a max at how much dental work they'll do a year because they've been burned in the past. Someone does $10,000 worth of dental work on a family, and then as soon as the work's done, the employee bolts. So, that's something else to think about when it comes to um, asking, okay, what is the dental policy? Like, I advise a lot of people, hey, people need dental work. I say, well, why not get a job in a dental office? Like you say, you can't afford dental insurance. That's always a great alternative. Get a job in dentistry, then get taken care of by your prospective office. So, medical dental insurance, that's a couple options to look at. But, the main thing is making sure that you're covering all these areas and talking about them and making sure that both sides are on the same page when it comes to the explanation of these benefits. Some other benefits that we have gone over in the groups that people have successfully negotiated. CE, uniform allowance. Those are also big things, especially if you need CE. Is the office paying for X amount of CE a year? Are they paying you to go on events? Something to make sure you're clear on. Are they paying you if it's taking place during company hours? Are they reimbursing you for your time? Are they just paying for the CE? Are they paying for if you have to travel somewhere for the CE? Are they paying for the CE? Are they paying a food allowance for the day, a per diem? Hotel, travel. So these are things that you definitely want to iron out because you don't want it to be the day of and now you're leaving and you're like, hey, am I getting reimbursed for this stuff? And then you find out that's not the case. So definitely want to make sure that if somebody does offer CE or you negotiate that you're very definitive on that. I myself, anytime I've negotiated CE, it's typically just the CE and then a paid rate at the time of the CE. So if I'm in the class for 8 hours, I've been a paid rate, and I've received my regular rate. I've received a reduced rate, so that's something that you want to clarify as well, because I kind of look at it like if they're sending me to a course, I don't mind taking a reduced rate because if I was paying for it myself, I'd be paying for it myself and I would also not be getting paid. So that's one of those give and take things where if someone's the negotiation is, yeah, we'll pay for this, but we're not going to pay you your regular rate. I'm still like, okay, that's fine because at the end of the day, I'm still grateful for the opportunity to receive some kind of pay, especially while I'm learning. So as far as uniform allowance goes, I've received, I believe it was $250 annually, and then I had to turn in the receipt. So that covered scrubs, lab coat, even shoes. So I would go and spend up to $250, turn in the receipts, and get reimbursed. So that was something that I always was very happy with because, let's face it, scrubs aren't cheap. And It's definitely a nice perk to be able to get scrubs annually. So $250 annually was um, the agreed upon fee for the scrub allowance. So let's see, what else? What other benefits do we have that are kind of out there? Um, you know, I wouldn't even say benefit, but bonuses. That's something you want to make sure you fully understand is when you're working in an office and there's a bonus system. You want to make sure that you understand the bonus system. Working for a DSO for almost 10 years, the bonus structure changed frequently. I used to always make jokes and I would say, if the mathematicians that worked at this DSO worked for NASA, like we would already be on the moon and we would be colonizing it because they were so creative with the numbers that I felt like no one stood a chance to get a bonus. So if you are lucky enough to work where somewhere where there is a bonus, make sure you fully understand the bonus, how it works, and how you can concentrate and play it to your advantage. Because some bonuses they factor in reviews. So if you get a less than stellar review, that might affect it. Some of them factor in the numbers as far as the show rate of the patients collections. So sometimes it's numbers that don't necessarily pertain to you directly, but numbers that you can help with. So let's say collection wise, it's they want you at so many percentage of collections and it's below collections, but then it's something that you can talk to the patient about as far as, hey, I see you have a past balance due here. I'm going to walk you up front and we'll get you, situated with the front desk to get that taken care of. So um, typically, when it comes to assistance and finances, I don't like to intermix the two because I feel like as assistants, we have a lot going on with our job, but there are things that we can look at. And, typically you look at that computer screen and you see a balance that you could easily point that out to a patient and say, hey, are you aware that you have a balance? Why don't you talk to the front desk on your way out? But going back to bonus systems, you just want to make sure that you understand all of it. Some of them are pretty clear cut, like, hey, we need to make X amount this month, and then you get a bonus. But then some of them are a little bit more involved with different little nooks and crannies as far as the stipulations go. So it is something that you want to research accordingly. So bonuses, then what are some of the other perks? Of course, I constantly see contests, gift cards. Hey, for every review you get, we're going to put everybody's name in a hat and we're going to pull it out and then everybody gets gift cards. So that's always something, fun that an office will do to keep morale high and, of course, give everybody a chance at winning something, which is always great. I think the important thing is when you're in an office and you're receiving, these benefits and perks, just be thankful for them, be grateful. The problem is when offices feel taken advantage of to where no one shows appreciation. And I get it. We're employees, they're employers. It's a trade-off. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel appreciated. Employees want to feel appreciated for their work. Employers want to feel appreciated for if they're going above and beyond and offering things that other employers aren't offering. They want to feel appreciated for that. And when something goes wrong on either side, then that's when it gets taken away. So I've been in offices before where I've received a $500 cash bonus for Christmas. And then I've been in offices before where I received nothing for Christmas. And it definitely, it's a punch in the gut. You work hard all year and it's you get nothing. And you're kind of like, oh, this sucks. Plain and simple, this sucks. But I was in an office once where I believe we got $50 a year. And the first year I started in November, right after Christmas. I'm sorry, Thanksgiving. And I got a card with $50 in it. And I was extremely grateful because I was like, wow, I just started here. They accept me as part of the team. The problem is the other assistants. we're kind of like, oh, well, this guy just started here and he got the same thing that we just got for the entire year. So I appreciated the fact that they kept it fair, but I could see both sides of it. So as a newcomer coming in, you feel welcome that you weren't prorated on a bonus. But then if you're there all year, you're kind of like, wow, this person who just started, 11 months into the year got the same amount. So I completely understand both sides of it. But they used to keep it uniform and give everybody a $50 bonus. And after a year or two of being there, of course, people would gripe and complain like openly. They didn't give us a bonus. So that next year, they didn't give us a bonus at all. And it's almost like something had to be taken away to make people appreciate it because it was taken away. Then, of course, they brought it back the next year, and then everybody was like grateful again for it for a minute. And then, of course, people complained again, and then they eventually stopped giving $50 cash. They eventually just started buying presents. And the bad thing about that is the presents were uniform for everyone, so it was kind of like I got a scarf, and all the girls got a scarf, and it was like, okay, like what am I gonna? I don't even know if I still have that scarf now that I'm thinking about it. But it's very hard. The more employees you add, it gets harder to deal with all those personalities. So I'm one of these people that if someone even thinks about me, even though they didn't necessarily take the time to get to know me or think about something that I liked, just a simple thought they thought about me, I'm just appreciative of it. I'm just that type of person and at that stage of my life where I'm just appreciative of they got me something. So take that for what it's worth, basically. But I would say you're interviewing, that's the time when you want to go in with your questions, think about some of the things that we talked about today. Then from there, make sure that you're asking the appropriate questions, making sure that you're on the same page. Even if you go through the interview process and you leave, there's always that, hey, if you think of something, go ahead and contact us. Like this is always a good time to follow up and say, hey, you mentioned paid holidays. Like, how did the paid holidays work? Get clarification on those things because at the end of the day, a lot of us make a pros and cons list when it comes to interviews and jobs and working. And it could be that one thing that really changes your dynamic when it comes to the thought process of choosing a job. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way. I make my list, but I do feel like if someone deceives me, then I lose that trust. So for me, if I was working at a job and the holiday rolled around and A, I found out I was working, or B, I found out I was not working and not getting paid, I would definitely feel some type of way about that. Um, some some offices might put a 90-day probationary period in there. So, hey, you're not going to get paid during 90 days, completely understandable. But knowing those things ahead of time is going to help you budget and balance accordingly. Because let's face it, one of the worst times, if you're on a 90-day probation, one of the worst times to start a job is at the end of the year, because now you're missing out on um, Thanksgiving pay, you're missing out on Christmas pay, you're missing out on New Year's pay. So that's three in a row that hit in that 90-day window. So that's definitely a tough pill to swallow if all of a sudden you're losing 3 days pay. So couple things to think about when it comes to benefits and the structure of an interview. So just make sure you're asking questions. Don't be afraid to take a list in there with you and ask accordingly. That way you can check off your list and make the decision that's best for you and your family. So we appreciate you joining us today. Uh, Sorry, this was kind of, you just had me today, but I'll try and get some more guests on here. But it's been a minute since we put a podcast out, so we wanted to ensure that we put some information out there to, you know, make sure that we keep people educated and keep this great career of dental assistant going and help keep everyone up on what is going on in the dental assistant community. So if you'd like to join us as a guest on the podcast, I mean, feel free to, you can email us at cornerstonedainstructors@gmail.com. You can call, text us at 412-779-3654 or 412-779 2843. So we greatly appreciate your time today. One thing about dental assistants we always preach is to stand tall, stand out, be confident in your knowledge and learning. And of course, we greatly appreciate the support. So for those of you who haven't had a chance yet, you can like, follow, subscribe to us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Be sure to comment and follow. So we hope to hear from you soon. If you have ideas or topics on something that you would like to hear from the dental assistant nerds, feel free to reach out to us and we will gladly put that together. So we hope everyone enjoyed this episode and we will be hearing from you soon, hopefully. And if not, just keep an eye out for the publish of the next episode of the Dental Assistant Nerds podcast.